Good morning and welcome to America Today.
Tune in and learn a lot.
Oh yeah.
Good morning, Abe. Thank you so much for joining us at America Today. I'm here to ask you some questions about how you're feeling about the war.
My pleasure. My feelings towards the war, honestly, it was really stressful. I felt like I felt the war was just terrible for everybody, especially me. A lot of the people in the North looked to me for guidance, and it was really hard to make decisions. But now that the war's over, I really feel like we can make America amazing, and we can go off of our mistakes and learn from them, and really try to bring our nation back together.
Abraham, that really hit home. I just want to expand on that and lead to my next further question, which involves the reconstruction of the Union and the states. What are the states going to do? How are they going to decide?
That's a great question. I've actually been pondering this for a while. I've decided to come up with the 10% plan. It involves 10% of all white male Southerners pledging their allegiance to the Union, pledging their allegiance to a federal government. And if they can't do that, then they won't be part of the Union anymore. Mr. Johnson, thank you so much for coming. You know that there is so much controversy around your presidency, and I was wondering, as a Northerner, how you are going to restore, as you said, the Confederate States, the previously Confederate States.
Well, that is a great question. I actually did own slaves in the South, but that was my past. This is the future. Right now, we are going to ratify the 13th Amendment and get freedom back. In favor of my brothers and sisters of the South, I have come to conclusion to give them freedom and to give them power of what they deserve. Congressman Phillip. Today, I'm asking you to explain the radical Republican Reconstruction Plan for American citizens.
Just keep going. Did I mention that I was a Republican? Yes, I am against Johnson. I think he is terrible. I think he is being super unfair. Anyways, here's our plan for the radical Republican Reconstruction Plan. We think that the South should be punished. We think that Reconstruction should be a long, withdrawn process to really teach them some lessons. We think that the emancipated slaves should be compensated for what they had gone through. Senator Wade, I'm so happy you're here. I just wanted to ask you about the Wade Davis bill. I feel like some of us here at the station are a little confused, and we don't want to be broadcasting the wrong information about it.
Good morning, this is Wade coming at you. Me and my good friend Davis were brainstorming some interesting thoughts, and we felt, if America is going to be something someday, black men need to vote. Every man needs to vote because we are America. And as saying that, 50% of the men need to pledge loyalty to the Union. And in doing so, we can grow America into one power and conquer.
Breaking news! The Congress has officially decided to implement the Military Reconstruction Act. It consists of breaking the previously Confederate South into 5 military districts.
And I agree with that on so many levels.
As do I.
Because I feel like we should implement the Republican
ideals
back into the South where they belong. Now I'm going to ask you something pretty intense. What drove you to create such a program as the Freedmen's Bureau?
After seeing the aftermath in the South after the war, everybody's starving. Everybody is crumbling. My heart is big. And that is why I decided to establish the Freedmen's Bureau to help the poor blacks and the poor whites who need help from the federal government.
More breaking news. We have officially
Officially.
implemented the 14th and 15th Amendment.
Yes.
The 14th Amendment is any person who was born within the boundaries of the United States is immediately naturalized as a citizen.
That's correct. And the 15th Amendment describes how African Americans now should be able to vote, which is crazy. Hello, today we'll be joining with Clifford White of the Confederacy South, and today we'll be asking him about the Black Codes.
My name is Clifford White. I just want to express my gratitude to our President, Andrew Johnson. He's making the South restored again. He put in the Black Codes for the good of our people, and it's made the lives of whites a lot easier in the South and harder for the blacks. It's what we want, and we want to oppress them as much as possible.
Or should I say, ex-President Andrew Johnson, you are now impeached.
Yes, ma'am.
What are your final remarks?
All I have to say about this whole rebuttal is that I was a man born in the South, the tricky South. We was born, we was raised, knowing one thing. Slaves were property. Slaves were a way to increase the economy, to increase the way of life, and to make America great again. And knowing that, that's what I used in my presidency. And as far as I know, it went pretty great.
So,
That's all I have to say.
no, your reason for impeachment is the very thing you said. Your democratic ideals, yes, were correct with you and the people of the South, but they weren't correct for our Republican progressive society where everybody is free. You better shut it, because you are impeached and you mean nothing. We are here with one of the founders of the KKK. He has chosen to not say his name and remain anonymous, even though he's showing his face, which doesn't make much sense. But we're gonna ask him a couple questions today. My first one for you is why? Why did you want to start the KKK?
Simple answer. I wanted to start the Ku Klux Klan. Because after we got our Confederate rights snatched right from our leaves, we had absolutely no way of expressing our emotions towards this monstrosity instead of taking it into our own hands. So that's what we did. We took it into our own hands. We took matters straight into our own hands like men.
And my final question for you is, do you feel any remorse for the violent actions you take upon the black people?
I'm gonna have to reply with absolutely not. Because what I do as a man reflects freedom and the loyalty that I have to my country and that I always will have to my country. And protecting it as a Southerner.
Breaking news! We have just gotten word from Plessy versus Ferguson, that case, that Jim Crow laws are constitutional.
They're
Separate but equal.
constitutional. Honestly, Genevieve, that is news to me. Well, the Jim Crow laws themselves honestly just make me sick to my stomach because they're segregating African Americans and whites. Whites are making different schools, different drinking fountains, different buildings, just because they do not feel comfortable sharing basic necessities with African Americans, which is completely unhumane, in my opinion, and should be abolished.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I think that these Jim Crow laws are a tragedy because these freed men are there to enjoy their freedom, but everywhere they look, they're reminded that they're less than.
This is just another step into oppressing African
I
American
can't believe this is the reality.
I can't either, Genevieve. Today we will be talking to a local carpetbagger named Michael.
Yes, my name is Michael. I was a rich northerner, and I saw the opportunity down here in the South, and I decided to move down. I bought some property, did some sharecropping, made more money. Today, our guest is our local scalawag.
We'll be talking to him. I'm actually really excited to meet him. His name is Jeffers.
Hello, Jeffers here. Well, life as a scalawag is pretty intense living in the South because I believe that African American rights should be just as equal as white rights. And it's pretty hard to make friends these days because no one really agrees with me, but I stand for my choices. Folks of 1876, please listen here because the election of 1876 is absolutely revolutionary. You know why?
Why?
Because Tilton, the Democratic runner-up in this presidency, won the popular vote of the South, which is absolutely mind-boggling.
But don't be too afraid, folks.
Don't be too
we have
afraid.
the Congress to come and help us.
Yes, we do.
They actually created the Electoral Commission, something we've never heard about before.
Never.
Created a new standard for voting. And through that, the Electoral College was birthed. And we were able to have another Republican in presidency again.
Mr.
And his
Hayes.
name was Mr. Hayes, Mr. President Hayes. We're so lucky. We're so lucky to have a Congress, and we just never need a Democrat in office. Thank you so much for watching America Today.
Thank you so much.